I can. Yes.
I am one of your co-hosts, MC Pearson, and of course, we have the illustrious Larry Ivory Prez. What's going on, Doc?
Hey, you got it, MC, man. Another exciting morning to share information with our listening audience. I shout out to Buddy Love, who can't be with us today, our other co host, and Lord Mike. But we got an exciting program today that we're going to share with you. And we got there's some very distinguished guests here today. So we're going to rock and roll, make it happen, MC. Let's get rolling.
So, listen, we got a jam-packed show, but for the top of the hour, for the first segment, listen, we got some exciting news for new members of the chamber, something that's coming up that is hot, but I don't want to steal her fire. So I'm introducing, I'm bringing, everybody knows Miss Gail Newcomb from Newcomb Consulting, your business expert, but she's one of the pillars of the Illinois State Black Chamber of Commerce. Come on, Gail,
Good,
share with us that exciting information we got for new members.
good morning, Larry and Michael, our MC. I'm sorry. This is Gail Newcomb from Newcomb Consulting and your business expert. For new members that are coming in, we are doing they have an opportunity to get a rolling out profile. Larry started this. Larry, you started this about a year ago, didn't you? I think about a year ago. So we will be highlighting them. They get an opportunity to be highlighted in the rolling out. We have three people so far that has been highlighted. Rolling Out magazine is throughout the country as well as the world. Rollingout.com, which is now an online platform by Munston Steve. So we're really excited to let new members know when they join, they get an opportunity to get profiled in a nationally and international magazine.
I think one of the great things about this is the fact that, rolling out, it's a historic magazine and they have millions and millions of followers. So
Correct.
I like the fact that, through this partnership with the chamber, our members are getting national attention now.
You get more exposure. People who you probably could not get an opportunity to see your platform in your local state, you get a chance for them to see you throughout the world. We just had Sheena Baker highlighted. She's a top realtor in the Aurora, Illinois area, 25 million. Of course, MC Pearson was the one before that with his printing company, veteran owned certified company to get that platform. And then Tracy Sturdivant, image consulting with Sturdivant Beauty. And so I am looking for other chamber members that I can have interviewed so that they get those opportunities as well. So we're really excited to be able to offer that to our new members as they come in. That's one of the perks that you get, as well as all the great training and development programs that we are starting.
I love all of the benefits and all of the exposure that comes from being a member of the
I
chamber,
know.
but adding this new layer of public exposure, it just puts it over the top for me. You know what I'm
It
saying?
does. And I want to add something else for the ladies who are highlighted. Sorry, guys. But for the ladies
Oh,
who also are highlighted. Illinois State Black Chamber of Commerce also get an opportunity to pick some of the rolling out super women, which is another platform of the rolling out. So it's an opportunity to get highlighted yet again at another level and get an award. Last year we had the event in Chicago. We will be having another one in October. We'll start talking about it about August of this year. So it should be an exciting time.
You know what? I did get a chance to. I was honored to be able to attend the Women with Superpowers awards event, awards banquet that was here in Chicago, and to just see how they highlighted these women CEOs, these black women CEOs,
Yes.
and what they were doing in our communities. Um, you know what, Gail, your sister is a rock star to me. Her,
Cecilia Newcomb Evans.
yes, when they highlighted her and they talked about and they awarded her and they talked about how she's doing all of this work in the healthcare industry. You know, Rolling Out does such a great job of letting us know who our modern day
It
historical black
is.
figures are.
So
We always go back, but we have people that are current.
doing things.
Yes.
So last year, our winners actually were Terry Simmons
Hmm.
of and also Dornita Tiger from American Family Insurance. They were the two that got highlighted last year.
And Terry
It
was
was
from Strategic Exceptions.
right from Strategic Acceptance and also president of the Minority Business Development Agency in Illinois. So it's a great opportunity for people to learn about their platforms and just also that recognition. Everybody loves recognition, and to be able to get honored in that way is such a blessing. And so we are really excited about being able to partner with rolling out at this level, not just for the platform of profiling businesses, but also that aspect. But I will
Hey,
say,
MC, and Gail, I think it's time for our check and break, and we'll get right back to you.
All right, so we're gonna after we come back from the break, we have some exciting guests that are gonna be in studio with us. So after the break, stay tuned. Peace. This is the Wake Up Show Chicago. Welcome back to the Wake Up Show Chicago, powered by the Illinois State Black Chamber of Commerce.
all right.
You can catch us every single Saturday at 9:06 a.m. You can catch us on Facebook and on YouTube. This past week, we also had the Black Business Roundtable. If you did not get that, you didn't see it, you need to go to YouTube and you need to catch that because there was some real great jewels of information being dropped. I mean, Robert Johnson Esquire was on, and he was giving some information about franchises. Listen, I know everybody
Yeah,
done
I
heard
joined
about
his part.
franchises, but you
Hmm.
have not heard it articulated in the same way that he has. I'm telling you, you need to go back and listen to that. But without any further ado, oh yeah, my bad. We are also taking call-ins on today at 773-591-1690. And so this past week, our very own Prez Larry Ivory was on a Zoom call with influencers, and he hooked up with people, and he decided, we need to bring some
Oh,
young black entrepreneurs into the studio to expose them. So, Prez, I'm gonna give it up to you so you can introduce our guests and tell us what's going on. Come on.
hey, absolutely, man. I ran into this lovely young lady And what really caught me was the fact that my favorite dessert is banana pudding. And she said that she does banana pudding, and people said it's the best banana pudding in the world. And I said, look, I got to have some banana pudding, so I'm gonna have to apologize to her because I told her I was going to be in the studio because I wanted my banana pudding. So whatever you do, do not give Michael my banana pudding, okay?
You see this
Larry,
right
I
here?
don't know. I might be taking yours. This looks
Yeah,
delicious.
hey, Gail, you can take it, Gail. Hey, but I want to introduce you guys to a lovely. I'm not going to try to say her last name. I'm going to have her introduce herself. Her name is Genesis, the beginning. So, Genesis, say hello to our listening audience and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hey, y'all. Thank you so much, Press, Larry. Thank you. Nice meeting you again. And thank you for having me on the show. My name is Genesis Bensavanga Sr., owner and CEO of Lorenzo's Frozen Pudding. And I make banana pudding frozen. And if you don't like bananas, I have a strawberry flavor with Snickle strawberry. I have a pineapple, which is Hawaiian pineapple. And I also have a chocolate, which is called chocolate mousse, Southern style frozen pudding.
Stop.
Man,
Just stop.
Prez,
Y'all better
yeah,
stop playing with me on
let
this
me let you
morning.
know now. MC is moving all of the cartons by him.
I know, Gail. Will you protect me from Michael in terms of my banana pudding?
You know what? I'm gonna put it in my fridge, prayers, and you get it next time you come to in town.
Yeah. Hey, but
You
Genesis,
feel like
let me ask a question, Genesis.
Yes.
You've been doing banana pudding. Tell us a little bit about the stores that you in, and then introduce your next guest also.
Yeah, so I started my company with my dad. His name is Lorenzo, by the way. We started by making banana pudding in our house, and we sold on the streets of Chicago. We did it for a while. He wanted to be national. I said, "Hey, let's be international." I named the company after him, Lorenzo's Frozen Pudding, and I spearheaded the company. We did. This is my third relaunch into the game, and with that, we're in over 200 stores in the Midwest. I'm in Walgreens here in Chicago and all in Moscow, and we're growing really fast.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
so. When you told your father you wanted to go international,
Mm-hmm.
you know, what was his mindset? Was he 100% on board, like let's roll, or was he like, oh, let's keep this tempered a little bit, because I work with a lot of small businesses,
Yeah.
and I see when they go from generation to generation, and usually the
Yeah.
previous generation has taken it as far as they could, and then
Yeah.
and then that previous generation is like, no, 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 hold on, slow down, because it's a lot.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then we done got older, and that
Yeah.
next generation, they're younger, so they got a lot of fire, a lot of energy. And I can tell you have a lot of fire and energy.
Yeah.
How did that conversation happen, going from the bridging of the gap between the two generations and moving the business forward?
Yeah, it went well. I mean, my daddy, he's always been an entrepreneur, and he was just doing something. He was making something with his hands, and he didn't ask me to be a part of the business. I said, "I'm gonna come home and help you." And when I was seeing he was doing, I'm like, "Okay, I can see what you're doing. I can see where you're going to go." He always wanted to scale the business anyway, so his idea was to have manufacturing, distribution, and have our products in stores. And when he saw national, I'm like, "Let's do international." He's like, "Okay, that works. That sounds good."
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's not a lot of times that the children of an entrepreneur want to come in and join. We
Mhm.
talk about Robert Johnson was on what yesterday, no, 2 days ago, talking
Oh.
about the opportunities in terms of uh, generational businesses.
Mhm.
So, do you guys have an outline plan that you follow?
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, and shout out to Rob. Robert Johnson is like one of my me and him like this. Like I
Awesome.
can text him like, "Hey, what's going on? Hey, Rob, if you're listening." I love Robert. He's always down for the cause, first and foremost.
Yes,
But
he is.
yeah, he really is. So my plan is to grow as big as I can. I want this company to be a legacy company. There's no other banana pudding on the shelf in any retail store ever. So we're the first ones. We're setting the standard. We want to be that go-to, that household brand name. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So I like what you said. You said we want to be a legacy company.
Yes.
So does that mean you want to keep it in the family? And one of the conversations that happened on the Black Business
Right.
Roundtable was we were talking about how in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, there were all of these black businesses
Yeah.
that were around, and then eventually they grew so large
Yeah.
that they sold their businesses, and
Hmm.
unfortunately, it was sold
No.
to another black company or another
Yeah.
black
Correct.
entrepreneur, and so we start to see the decline of
Their products.
large, no, large size black owned businesses. There's
That's
plenty of
so
us that are
true. That's really
entrepreneurs and
true.
solopreneurs, but not many large scale company. So where
Mm.
are you trying to go? Because one of our buddies just sold her company.
Yeah.
Congratulations to Honey Pot
Honey
Company.
pot. Yeah.
Yes.
And I met her when she first got started. I'm talking about when they
Wow.
were up in the middle of the night. Responding to people at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning with questions about the
Yeah.
product on Instagram, so
Yeah.
you know what is your vision? Where do you want to take this?
I mean, shout out to Honey Pot. I think she sold for 383 or something like that. It was crazy. It's crazy,
Yeah.
girl.
Yes. Very
I mean,
good.
and you're right. I mean, every bigger company is buying. They're like giants. They're eating the smaller companies. Like Honey Pot. And we don't see a lot of us big companies out there.
Hmm.
So I would be interested to because there are a lot of black billionaires and people that have a lot of influx of cash to see if because I honestly, to be honest with you, this is just one vehicle. So whether we sell or whether we keep it in the family or whether we give it equity to our members and our consumers, something like that. I think giving equity to people is really powerful,
It is.
and giving them something to invest in. So I had ideas maybe I should give it to the public and let the public invest, in certain things like that because there are very few of us that are entrepreneurs but want to be entrepreneurs and we want to invest in things but we don't know what to invest in or where to invest and or how and maybe we create a curriculum to where like this is a company you can invest in. This is what your return is, and just start financially building people in that way about financial assets and liabilities and things that you don't think of when you go into business. You know what I'm saying? So that's always an option too.
I love the fact that you're thinking out of the box and you're already looking at generational and long term goals of the
Mhm.
company. So
Mhm.
that's very powerful. Where did you inherit that? I mean, I know your dad is there, but did all that come from him? Is mom involved with that? Is it another generation before them that kind of guided you guys that way?
I don't no, I don't think so. My granddad, we're from the South, like all of us. uh
Hey, hey, Gail and MC, one of the things I think is exciting about this very talented young lady is that she has another friend with her. I don't know. Did she join you today in the studio? Okay. Okay. Hey, but let me say this is that we're going to be headed down the lobby day. I got to find a way of connecting this banana pudding to lobby day where we have hundreds of business people coming down to Springfield. And one of the things that we're going to do, Gail, she'd be an excellent candidate for the Rolling Out magazine when she joins. And also, it would be great in terms of rolling out and then having her back on the show because I think what she does is so incredible and we're looking forward to talking to her friend who's a give us a little bit of taste of the young lady who's going to be joining us later on because we're going to move into the next section. We want you to stay, join us, and engage in the rest of the conversation also. MC. I, I'm I'm excited about the upcoming guest. He's no stranger to us, but when we come back from our break, we're going to be joined by none other than the one and only Senator James Claiborne, the owner of his own law firm. He was Majority Leader of the Senate, a wonderful guy. And we're going to talk about some of the specific legislation that we're going to be addressing down in Lobby Day. So as soon as we get back from the break, Genesis, stay with us and enjoying the rest of the conversation we're going to have, and we're going to rock and roll. MC, back to you.
Thank you for listening to the Wake Up Show Chicago. And after the break, we're going to unpack and lay the game plan for Lobby Day 2024.
Hey.
All right.
Come on now. All right.
All right.
We have our very own President Larry Ivory on. We have special guests in the studio, and also all the way.
Good morning.
Good morning, Senator. Hey, let me say before Senator gets started is that Lobby Day is our day to make sure that Black business is represented. We plan to convene the largest concentration of Black business in the history, going down to the Capitol to make sure our voices are heard and our demands are placed on the table and that we bring something back to our communities. That's what this is all about. And today we wanted to talk about one piece of legislation that we've been fighting for. And the senator has been the champion of it. He's going to give us a little bit of understanding. We talked about this before, but he's going to break it down for us, and then we're going to talk about the piece of legislation that when we go down to Springfield, we're going to be asking our state reps and state senators to make sure they vote on this piece of legislation because it has profound impact upon Black business all across the state. And I see we got a lovely young guest who's arrived also. We're going to get to her in a moment. But Senator, why don't you share with us the piece of legislation, why it's important from your perspective, and why we should support it?
First of all, good morning, everyone. And Larry, I appreciate the opportunity to be on your show and to talk about some of the things that are very important that are impactful for our community. I've helped get a sponsor, which is Senator Belt, on Senate Bill 3425. We're still drafting it. I've met and discussed with the new committee on equity and new commission on equity and inclusion. And there's just some cleanups I think that need to be made from what we had passed a few years back prior to me retiring from the Senate. One of them is there's a provision on new contracts that deal with the fact that certain contracts, when were initially awarded or let, some of them didn't have goals, or the law has changed where now there's a 30% goal requirement, and or just market changes that may allow us to increase the goals. So what traditionally has the way the state has interpreted that is that you encourage the prime. Well, what I've done is I've added language basically saying after you've encouraged the prime, if he or she doesn't comply with the new market study or the law, then we'll immediately bid that contract. One of the other, and there are numerous changes that I think will fit that are needed to really strengthen and really expand opportunities for businesses. Another one is to monitor the contract for the first 6 months. And if that prime is not achieving their goals, then we'll rebid that contract as well. And
Mm.
So,
these should be also terms within the original contract that they sign. So if the market changes, if the goals increase based upon the law, then we're going to hold you accountable, the prime accountable, and make the prime comply with the law. One that's probably going to be controversial, what I think is the right thing to do, is the same way that we are evaluated by our history, by paying our bills, then we want to make sure that we know who we're contracting with in the state of Illinois. So we want the CEO through the RFP process to attest to all the contracts that they have, public, private, and whether or not they're achieving their goals. We should know their history just like they know our history. And we would evaluate them based upon the fact whether or not they've achieved their goals or they're achieving their goals.
hey, Senator, let me
Yes.
just interject real quick. I want to make sure that we understand the magnitude of this piece of legislation because we've had some bad experiences, you and I, in terms of issues that we brought. And I want to just make sure the audience understands the impact and how they're using this to undermine Black participation and minority participation collectively. As an example, the IRS had a debt collection contract, which means that if you don't pay your state taxes, they send it to collection. And they have companies, 6 companies that collect that debt. And what happens is that they have an option to renew that contract every 5 years. Well, in the fifth year, the second term of the contract, they didn't have a go because perhaps whatever the reason may be, there wasn't enough people in the space. There was other issues. But Senator Claiborne legislation says, look, in 6 months before you review that, and all of a sudden now you got a 10% go on a multi-billion-dollar contract, which means there's $100 million that will go to minorities and people of color, especially African Americans. But what they've been using to justify not doing it is that you, based upon the language and the legislation that Senator Claiborne wrote, they misinterpreted the legislation by saying, "Look, if we encourage them to increase the goal, but they don't, there's nothing we can do." Right, Senator? So I think
That's
this is
correct.
egregious.
That's correct. And we want to make sure, again, that the law is very clear. Almost the entire time I was in the Senate, when I raised these issues, at least the last 15 years I was in the Senate, I would always hear, well, they're going to sue us. And referring to the state, if we imposed conditions that were what I felt were accountable provisions. And they never worried about Black people, Latinos suing the state because they weren't complying with the goals. So I think it's time for us now to make sure that we have provisions in place that hold these primes accountable. And if they're not performing as they contracted, based upon contracted goals, then we have the ability to rebid or terminate those agreements.
So,
It's
Senator,
important that there be consequences. It's an old concept called behavioral modification, and you don't modify behavior unless there are consequences.
Mm.
so Senator,
Absolutely, absolutely.
Senator, this is MC here. Um, so what we're talking about here is when we're talking about the goals that these primes are supposed to be hitting, the part of those goals is how much business they're supposed to be doing with minority owned businesses, black owned businesses, veteran owned businesses. And the reason that this is so important is because we also understand that black owned businesses typically hire black people, and when black people have economic empowerment, that's
Mm-hmm.
how we begin to see that our communities, we turn the ships around in our communities. We start to see our communities improve. We start to see the healthcare of our people improve, the educational system for our people improve. And so your bill is very important because if we're not getting business and we're not employing black people, then that means that economic empowerment is stunted.
I agree with you 100%. You know, one of the things I learned, I used to have when I was in the Senate, I had a mentoring group, and I learned a lot from those young men. A little boy and little girl can't be what they've never been exposed to.
Come on.
And the more we grow our businesses, the more opportunities they have to have hope and to understand that there are other things out there other than sports and entertainment. And that's not to
Mm-hmm.
be critical of anything, but everybody's not going to make money on Sunday or Saturday. We've got to be able to create our future and create vision for young men and women to be successful in all areas of our society.
Absolutely. Well, Senator, one of the things I point out to Gail and to everyone, especially to Genesis and our guests, is that when you think about even the goal setting with the universities, colleges, state, they all have some of them have cafeterias, they have places where you can buy banana pudding. But if
Yes.
there's no goal, they have no incentive. If we get them to do what they're supposed to do, it creates an opportunity for us to expand our business all across the board. And this is why this piece of legislation is so critical and so important for us to make sure that we come down to Springfield and that we make sure that our state reps and state senators know we want you to pass that piece of legislation so there's no controversy about how we interpret, how they interpret it. And they use the attorneys very effectively to say, well, if you give them a little bit of room to interpret it slightly different, they will interpret it in the best interest of themselves or in Caucasian's position as a rule of thumb.
Right. And let me say this, we're still drafting it, but uh, we are working with the Commission on Equity and Inclusion. So I think it's very important to understand that. But to address what you said, Genesis, you have packaging. That's an
Mm-hmm.
opportunity for a minority company to be able to package it.
Mm-hmm.
It has to get to the stores.
Mm-hmm.
Again, that's an opportunity for a transportation company to be developed. But,
There used to be, sorry, Senator, there used to
no, no,
be a
go ahead.
black owned there used to be a black owned transportation system that actually did frozen. So my products are frozen, and it's really
Okay.
hard doing frozen, and it's really hard being a company to carry that frozen product because there's a lot of overhead for them as a black owned small company.
And so what I just heard was there's an opportunity. You got all these
Yes.
people getting into transportation.
Yeah,
Here's a niche market. I
it's
have
freezing
you
like
know,
freezers.
right. I have a nephew down in Texas. He has 5 trucks and he does nothing but refrigerated, but he's in
Exactly.
Texas. So what I just heard you say is here's an opportunity for somebody who's trying to get into transportation
Mhm.
to get into frozen transportation.
Mhm.
It's a special insurance, but it's a
Mhm.
unique field
It is.
that is high paying
It is.
It is.
because of the
Yes,
types of products.
because
Because
the type of exactly because I have to pay it regardless. And in the U.S. alone, there is a $60 billion profit, like just for frozen desserts. Like ice cream
Wow.
alone is a $60 billion revenue generating like itself just in the United States. That's not even the whole world. And what's so crazy is, in business is always. I mean, I'm in CPG, so it's always men, and it's always more white men. So like, there's not a lot of us there, like you said, that's in packaging or all the things that I need to put this together. There's not a lot of us there,
Yeah.
you know,
And that's the point. The more you grow, the more
where we grow.
the companies that you do business with grow and
Yep, agreed.
get an opportunity to expand and work in other parts and with other vendors as well.
Yeah.
I got a
The other
question,
thing
Dr.
before we go to break, everyone, is that the other big issue that we will be addressing in Springfield will be the issue of one of the most impactful things that we can support that creates millions and millions of dollars of opportunities of black business we're going to be talking about shortly. And we hope to get our other guests who arrived to get engaged and get a little bit of information here. But first person we're going to hear from again, we want all of you to stay on, is that Dr. Sterling. We're going to talk about the power of what he's doing and how it impacts our community and why we need to make sure we get a piece of that $1 trillion pie that's in the healthcare business spend and go from, it's going to be a great conversation with Dr. Sterling. So join us as soon as we come back from our break. MC, back to you.
Thank you for listening to the Wake Up Show Chicago, powered by the Illinois State Black Chamber of Commerce. And when we come
Hey,
back, we got all these awesome entrepreneurs online. So we're going to crack some things open on this
yeah.
morning. Thank you for listening.
We are back. Well, MC, let us real quick. Can you guys hear me on your side? If you can, nod your hand. MC, can you hear me? Hey, well, let me say this real quick. That Dr. Sterling has been one of the great advocates on behalf of black businesses. And what I mean by that, he's created an opportunity that we can all sit at the table and benefit from. Not only benefit economically, but also to have, what we consider to be better healthcare outcomes in the Black community and minority community. Simcoe Solution is a solution that has economic merit and it also grow and helps sustain our communities at the same time. And we're going to be pushing when we go down to Springfield. There's been money allocated for this particular issue, but the money has never got invested back into the program. So we're going to be fighting for that. So, Dr. Sterling, give us a little bit of your background, your perspective, and tell us what you want us to know in terms of how important this is and the impact it has on our community.
Well, good morning, everybody. It's always great to see you again, be with you. Good morning, Senator.
Good
Look,
morning.
here's the bottom line. We talk about business all the time on this show, but there are things called social determinants of health that preclude your ability to conduct in business if you're sick. Nobody's happiest day of their life when they was on a day in which they were sick. And the reality of the situation is that black folks are the most adaptable people ever created on the face of the earth, because as we sit here smiling and enjoying life, the reality of our existence is that your life expectancy is more determined by your zip code than it is most any other factor. In the United States, 9 out of the top 10 causes of death disproportionately affect black people. Okay, I was on WGN this morning talking about how, just to give you one example, for maternal mortality, deaths during pregnancy, black women have a 80% higher rate than the general population. So this conversation at the beginning of the day is about improving the quality and the quantity of our lives. Now, the good news here is that there's a public health dictate, been well researched, that better healthcare outcomes for blacks are improved when they are delivered by culturally sensitive and culturally specific healthcare providers. That means FUBU, in case that sounded too technical for you. And what we have done with the Simcoe solution, and we seem to finally getting some breakthrough on the ability to bring some of this $120 million that the General Assembly has already approved. We've already got the legislation passed, 2 consecutive years of $60 million each, en route to 300 million over 5 years. So the money's been appropriated, approved by the General Assembly, but it's never been released by the Department of Healthcare and Family Services. And we feel like we're going to be able to get that done. But the point in terms of how this all comes together from a business proposition is that we are committed to improving the lives of the citizens of the state. You know, I'm a business person, but I'm a physician first and a public health professional second. And we have got to stop the devastation that has been wrought upon our communities. And the way to do that is to empower the totality, the sum total of the black business community in executing this project. We are going to be a model. You guys are going to be so proud, not just how we demonstrate that there is black business excellence, but how that black business excellence can be brought to bear on behalf of the citizens of the state and impacting health in communities. So that's what this is about. On the one hand, on one side of the coin, this is all about improving healthcare outcomes for the citizens of the state, wherever they may be, wherever we're allowed to serve. And on the other hand, we're going to do it in a way that demonstrates that, we have become so accustomed, for example, to getting any type of business proposition from teams that are all white or no black. But we're going to show you that teams that have a significant proportion of black leadership and black innovation can do just the same regardless of the communities that we're serving. So for Lobby Day, we're going to get there and we're going to demand better health. We're going to demand better participation because we can't afford to continue to allow these ravages to occur in our community.
Absolutely right, Dr. Sterling. It's right on the money. And the impact that this will have in terms of, and really when you talk about $60 million, that's a very small portion of preventive health. And quickly, Dr. Sterling, tell us, how do we rank when it comes to healthcare outcomes around the world in comparison with the United States?
Well, in the United States ranks about 37th in the world. Illinois is a state is somewhere between the high 20s and the high 30s, depending on the ranking that you see in terms of the production of healthcare outcomes, which is fascinating to me because Illinois is simply excellent in the amount of money that it is spending on healthcare. It is the largest part of the state's budget, approximating $30 billion a year. There's just tremendous money in the system. However, there is very little, relatively speaking, that's going toward health prevention and health promotion. So you can't wait until you get sick to try to deliver health. That's medical care. Healthcare is staying healthy. So, yeah, we have work to do, and we're just going to follow public health best practices to target some of that largesse of money that the state is spending in ways that produce better returns on investment and better healthcare outcomes.
Absolutely. Well, let me just do this real quick because I know we had a jam packed session today. There's a lovely young lady who just came in the studio. I want to give her a chance to say hello, tell us a little bit about our business, and then if she has any particular questions of Dr. Sterling or any of our guests to share with us. So at this time, we're going to turn it over to, and I forgot her name, but I'll let her introduce herself and tell us because I know she's a major influencer. She rocks. I hear wonderful things about you. I'm excited to have you on the show, and we hope to bring you back on the show. Not hope, we're going to bring you back on the show where we can have really more time to get to know you better and what you do. And turn it over to you.
Can't hear.
Okay. Well, again, I think we're having technical difficulties. Again, on the listening side, we can't hear, and I don't think our audience can hear our wonderful guests on the show right now. Is there any way you guys can fix that on your side there? I know she's talking.
Actually started up and launched my company, my wellness company named Truka. And most recently, I don't know if I can speak on it, but I'm also into the cannabis industry. Okay,
Oh yeah,
okay,
we
Girl,
we
you in
we talk
okay,
we
business.
okay,
talk
Yes,
You in
cannabis here.
yes, we
business,
talk
Brenda.
cannabis. It's the right
Okay.
group.
okay. I just wanted to make sure. Okay. And I got into that industry in 2021, but on 420 of this year, I'm actually opening up my first solely owned and operated operation in Mississippi.
Okay now.
Oh,
Hey.
and I have to add one more thing because they were speaking on like healthcare and preventative.
Yes.
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 Okay, so I'm also a certified hypnobirthing, childbirth educator, and
Hey.
certified birth doula. So
Oh,
I'm really big on prevention. I feel like the hospitals and the doctor's offices, those are for emergency situations only. And I
Hmm.
feel like those doctors that are mainly the doctors that are in the hospitals, they're trained in like intervention and like medical situations. So my intent is to actually educate women and to get them into birthing centers as opposed to going to the
Mm.
hospitals to give birth because that's not the place for that. So yeah, that's just a little
Super.
bit about me.
Dr.
You know
Sterling,
what?
back to Dr. Sterling real quick. Dr. Sterling, what's your thoughts and anything else you want to share with us? Because Lobby Day is upon us and we're going to rock and roll. We're going down there specifically to ask for things and make sure we meet with leadership, meet with heads of agencies, but to get something done, not to just have a good conversation, because at every meeting we have, we're going to have a white paper that clearly spells out our demands. Dr. Sterling?
You're muted, Doc.
we can't hear you.
Doc's gonna be a mom in his next career too. Come on now. No go, no go.
No go.
It's okay, Doc.
Okay, he can't hear. So hey, look, going back to Senator James Claiborne, to our wonderful guests, because I know we got phone calls that want to chime in, and I just want to make sure that we take this time to acknowledge the fact and again, focus again. This is our day to represent Black business. And we know that if you don't show up and if we don't make sure our voices are heard, then we're not going to participate. We're not going to get the recognition. And they're going to continue to do what they've been doing. And I don't think that's a good place for us to be. So it's so important for us to come together, to have great people like we have on this show, and to fight for what we believe in. So it's great. I don't know if Dr. Sterling, can you hear us now? No, okay,
You
he's
know
having
what?
audio problems.
Hey, prayers.
Senator Claiborne, you have any any thoughts before we close? And we're going to go back to our other two guests and turn it back over to you, MC and Gail Newcomb. Gail, you've been kind of quiet over there.
You know what? I just wanted to let everybody else talk. I'm gonna talk a little bit more about rolling out to our guests so that they know about
Yeah.
those opportunities. Yeah.
But listen, I do want to take the time to bring on one caller, and I believe we have Miss Terry Simmons on the line from Strategic Exceptions. What's going on, Miss Terry? Wake
Hey,
us up.
Terry.
Hello, Terry.
Looks like there's all types of technical difficulties going on
Good
today.
morning. Good
Oh, there we
morning.
Good.
Good
go. Good
morning. Can you
There you
hear
morning.
go.
me?
Yes, we
Yes.
can,
Yes,
Yes.
we
Morning.
Terry.
can.
Good morning, my dear friends on the Wake Up Show, Chicago. Mike, Gail, and Larry. I miss you guys.
Miss you too.
Yeah, we miss you too.
Oh, you guys, I am so excited about Lobby Day on April 10th. I am really thrilled to be a part of that. I'll be leading a group of folks. I don't. I know Larry has a special assignment for me, but and I know we will be taking some buses. So Larry didn't ask me to say this, but when there's great work being done, it requires great sponsorship. So we're gonna
Yes.
take some buses. They're gonna take a lot of businesses down there. So we are looking for sponsors, and I'm gonna be a part of that. My business strategic exceptions, and I just want to echo some of what Dr. Sterling was saying about African Americans and being underserved and how we have to advocate for what we believe in. We're the lowest in every economic indicator. And as
Hey,
a part, as the operator of the Illinois MBDA, we just got handed down from Texas legislation that
hold on,
MBDA is now open
Terry.
to everyone.
Terry, I love you, but
So,
I'm at the
yes,
end. I'm at the end of my.
okay, thank you, thank
Oh,
you.
hold on. They said I can have 2 more minutes. Go ahead, Terry. Go ahead and
Okay,
finish that.
so as you guys know, may not know, but there was a Texas ruling that came down. The Illinois MBDA is a minority business development agency that's been around since 1969, since President Nixon was around, and it's to support minorities in getting opportunities such as contracts, capital, resources, technical assistance, and to expand into new markets such as out of the country, Africa, and other places. However, that ruling came down that is now open to everyone, and that's fine. However, we're still the lowest in every indicator. So we
What is
need to
happening?
continue to advocate, and so that's what Lobby Day will do. So I ask all out there at the sound of my that can hear my voice to join Larry, me, and all of our other partners for Lobby Day on April 10th. And I yield the mic to my
Thanks,
partners on
thanks, Terry.
WBON. Thank you
Thanks,
guys.
Terry.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
So
Hey,
listen,
MC, I think
Oh,
Dr. Sterling is working out. Give him
yeah.
1 minute. Go ahead, Dr. Sterling.
I just wanted to say to everybody that remember, Lobby Day is a means to an end. And, my promise to everybody that's listening is that we are going to take care of you. We're going to remove some of these disparities that have plagued our community. And we're going to do it because we know where the ills are and we know how to fix it. So if and when we'll be given this opportunity soon,
5
I
seconds.
promise you, I promise you we're going to get this done.
Listen, y'all hung out with us a little bit longer. We appreciate it. Thank you for listening to the Wake Up Show Chicago. Catch the repeat on Facebook and on YouTube. Also,
Yes.
we got another Black Business Roundtable, and we are bringing the young entrepreneurs to the table to
Yes.
talk about what it is that they want. We're gonna bridge that gap, Lord. Oh, we're gonna have fun on this Black Business Roundtable next
Yes.
episode. We're gonna tell y'all about it on Monday. Thank you for listening to the
Thanks.
Wake Up Show Chicago.
Ayo.